Okay, team. Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to give some people some time to kind of jump in here. Just getting set up, making sure all my connections are good, making sure the Wi-Fi can support what we're doing. Looks pretty good. Give everybody a couple of minutes to get their ducks in a row and jump in. All right, guys, listen, let's just go ahead and get started. Um, You guys know I like to keep it very, very casual. Thanks to everybody who pre-populated some questions. I'll get to those. I've got them set up over here on my iPad where I can read through them and kind of go through. Also, feel free to hit me up in the comments. And, let me know that you're there. I'd love to see some thumbs up or whatever. I'd love to see that you guys are here and you're actively engaged. God, I've been doing a lot of this stuff lately. Hold on, let me fix my AirPods. I'm gonna pull this down. I've been doing a whole lot of this stuff lately, and this is particularly around, the rise of virtual and pandemic COVID world that we live in and whatever, whatever going back to normal. Let's just be honest. I mean, I love to speak to large groups. I get the feeling it's going to be a long time before that's safe to do again, like a couple of years. So I had better get used to doing this often. And I want to make sure that I'm doing it in such a way that it's entertaining, it's not boring, you don't sit there and kind of suffer through it. Nobody wants that. So um, interaction with you guys is going to be key. So I really appreciate that. And we're coming up on the 9 o'clock hour. It is 9 o'clock here in Aruba. This is my house in Aruba, which is right off the coast of Venezuela, about 16 miles. And I'm 2 hours ahead of Central Time, Atlantic time zone right now. So I know it's a little bit early for you guys. I know you also can go back and watch whenever you want to, which is cool. We're going to keep a record of all this stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump in. Just, but let this be a lesson, right? A lot of people go, oh, wow, you built a house in Aruba. Holy moly, that's a dream. I could never do that. You absolutely could do that. All you really need is about half the money in cash, right? Because Aruba Bank is who we got our mortgage through, and all they want to share the risk with you. So if you can bring half the dough in cash, you can get a mortgage for the rest. You can build a house here on the island, and it becomes what it is. Not only is it's our retirement house, we're going to live here and soon. I don't know if we're ever going to retire, but we're definitely going to live here. Um, but consider this: if you didn't want to live here all the time, it is a very lucrative little business. Right now, the Aruba government will tax you through the teeth on any over and above income that you make. However, you're building wealth and you have other people paying for this asset for you. So it is not some crazy pipe dream of a thing you could never do. You could definitely do it. My wife and I just decided, hey, let's go do this thing. So here we are. We decided that about 6 years ago. We finished it about 2 years ago, and now we love it. We're here all the time. It's totally amazing. So to that end, don't let anybody tell you, your friends, your mom and dad, whatever, don't let anybody tell you, oh, that's a pipe. You can't do that. You can't just go live in the Caribbean. Sure, you can. People do it all the time. They just have the balls to go do it, right? So just throwing that out there. Just make sure that we are jamming and we're working here. All right, good. See some people reacting. Dig it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start hammering on some of these questions. You guys feel free to jump into the comments and kind of let me know you're there and hit up some new questions if you want to. So I'm going to go over here to the first set of questions here this is coming from Michael Pliley. And Michael asked the age-old question, how do you know who to hire next, a service manager or a salesperson? And here's a bit of a description here is, we've taken a big hit this year. I need both positions. I need more sales to keep a service manager busy. Where do I find a salesperson, make sure they're a good fit for my team and my needs? Could it be possible to find a person that could do both positions until they only fill the service position? I guess that could be possible. But Michael, let me just throw this out there. A really good salesperson is worth their weight in gold. And if somebody's good at outside sales, they are not going to fill your service position. That ain't going to happen. If they can go out there and sell anything to anybody that they don't know, that's what they're going to do for a living because it pays, I don't know, 10 times as much. So I'm just throwing out there that you, as a small business, Michael, you're the best salesperson you're ever going to have, right? Because your life depends on it, literally. What it might be is that you want to bring on somebody in that service position and then you just go sell balls to the wall until they're busy, right? Um, there's a book called The Hard Thing About Hard Things, startup mode. And let's be honest, you elevator pitch, you're an air conditioning, refrigeration company servicing restaurants. Great. That's very, very cool. Um, and let's be honest, you are the best seller of your services. So I believe you should be the seller of your services until you no longer have to be that person and you can afford a professional salesperson or a team to do it for you. But nobody's going to sell it as well as you can. And just to my initial point there, if you find somebody who can do both positions, they're not going to be a good salesperson. Because if they are, and I can hear Tom Black yelling amen from Tennessee, if they are a great salesperson, they're going to go sell. And somebody's going to pay them through the nose for that because it's a very specialized skill. Okay. So just throwing it out there. I believe that you are the salesperson for your business and you can bring people in to run the service calls and do all those kinds of things. I do want to throw out here real quick. This is a bit of a learning moment. Michael said elevator pitch, air conditioning, refrigeration companies servicing restaurants. Okay, that's what you do. That's fine. We've talked about discovering your core purpose. It starts with why. There's a book by Simon Sinek. The last name is Sinek. The book is called It Starts With Why. And I love all of Simon's books. If you like one of them, you'll like them all. They're written in the same tone. He's very thoughtful. He's a good researcher. And he talks about you got to discover why your business is important. Why is it important that you do refrigeration, air conditioning for restaurants? Okay. And if I asked Michael, if I said, "Hey, what do you do?" and he'd say, "Well, I do air conditioning, refrigeration company for restaurants." All right. Why is that important? Well, because people like to go to restaurants, and the restaurants have a big need to keep food cold because of all this stuff. Okay, good, good. Why is that important? Well, because um, really, really great food is expensive. We need to protect it until it's time to serve to customers and whatever. So if we kind of broke through all of that, you might say that your core purpose is to allow restaurants to fully realize their servicing of the customer. We exist, you know, S&B, sandbarmechanical.com. Sandbar Mechanical exists to allow our restaurant customers to fully protect their inventory and take care of clients. That's a powerful why purpose. Okay. So then the elevator pitch would be, hey, Michael, what do you do? We allow uh, our we allow our customers to protect their inventory and take care of their customers. Whoa, that's cool. How do you do that? We work on the air conditioning refrigeration that protects food and whatever, right? So that's just a little bit of an elevator pitch trick that really is compelling. And if you, Michael, are going to be out there selling, that's what you want to lead with. You want to discover the pain that your customers have. The pain that they have is that they need to keep food cold, and sometimes their systems suck. And when their systems go down, they're really screwed. And if you can tap into that and say, hey, if and when you decide to work with us, it never happens. Hey, Mr. Proposed customer, if you choose to have us service your system, you never have downtime. And by the way, we can prove over time it's cheaper to have us doing proactive service than to go replace your system, right? So I think that that could be really, really helpful for just your selling in general. And it could be helpful just as you grow your business. You need to have a really compelling purpose with why we exist as an organization to protect our customers' inventory and allow them to have a great experience, right? That's pretty cool. All right, hope that was helpful. Michael, get out there and sell. All right, let's go to the next question here. This is from Eric from Rad Exclusion Service up in the Pacific Northwest. Eric said, I love the idea of doing something fun with our team for 2 hours during work time once a month in the form of leadership games, escape room, etc. Is this something to be done monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly? And there's a little bit of a background on what Eric does and the elevator pitch as well. Listen, it's totally up to you. I know some people who do team bonding almost all day, all the time, right? Some people work it in once a day. They do something fun. They have a daily huddle and they play a game. I think the counterweight to that is it can't all be fun. You know what I mean? Like there has to be work. So also you want to give people something to look forward to. So you might just say, hey, God, we're going to do this monthly. Once a month, we're going to get together for some team building. The rest of the time, we're going to kick ass like nobody's business. And you must go earn the fun part, right? So I think monthly is good. I wouldn't argue with bi-monthly or quarterly. Some people never do this stuff. So if you're doing it at all, I think that you're doing well, right? So Eric, I think it's just important that you have it on a cadence where people know that it's important to you to do team building and those kinds of things. And I'll go a little further into the description here. We have techs who work in the field independently. There are times we work together on large projects. I'm asking this because I want the techs to learn, bond, and have fun, not lose the lessons that are being discovered on how to work with each other by the games, if too frequent or not. Right. So that's a good way to look at it. I just really would take those independent techs and make sure I was all over the kind of work that they're producing. You know, you've heard me say this, I don't know how many times, metrics and KPIs and customer satisfaction scores and those kinds of things. So if you were going to, it's one thing to go to escape room, which is a lot of fun. I love it. You should definitely do that. Let's say you're going to do something monthly, Eric. Maybe 1 month you go do something fun. Go to a ball game, go to, when ball games are in again, escape room and what have you. And maybe the next month you do like a learning event. Bring everybody together and watch some scaling up videos or go through go through 5 dysfunctions of a team and kind of learn together. I think if you mixed it up and kind of had like fun learning, fun learning, fun learning, that would be a nice rhythm to get into and people would be expecting something monthly and it would pay off for you over time. So I hope that that's helpful. I know you've got some other questions a little further down the line here, so thank you for that question. And just make sure what I read here was I want the techs to learn, bond, and have fun, but not to lose the lessons that are be discovered on how to work with each other by the games. Yeah, so if you play a game, escape room, any kind of leadership game or whatever, always take the time to break it down after the fact and say, hey, what did we learn? What did we learn from that? Okay, so get back where I can see here. Okay. All right, remember, if you guys are out there, just react. Give me some, or maybe I just have it where the comments are not on. I don't know. Either way, appreciate you. All right, let's go to the next one here. This is Lisa Nitkowski. And oh, this is a good one, Lisa. Lisa said, how do you bridge the gap of wanting to start a business to actually starting the business? Oh man, age-old question. And Lisa said, I'm reading as many books as I can in regards to taking the leap and getting my business going. However, I'm wondering how to put the elements together and actually get started. Where do you start? What comes first? What are the steps? Where's the blueprint? As so many of you have successfully started and run companies, who better to ask things in advance? Well, listen, I'm going to start with my own personal experience, Lisa. When I started my business in Nashville, it was tents, events, staging, stuff like that. And it was a business that I was a professional musician, so I'd been around it a lot. I knew a lot about it, and I knew a lot of people in the business, right? So I kind of knew what the business looked like. And the fact is, Lisa, we just started doing it. Like we bought some inventory. We told people that we had it, and we had a good reputation. But we just, like personally, like everybody knew that I was a person of integrity, and they knew that if I said I was going to show up and kick ass at a gig, that I would. I'd be prepared. And so that kind of preceded me going into that and saying, hey, you hired me to come play in front of 20,000 people, and I was prepared and I was good and I gave you a good work product. Why would I not be good at anything else I offer? So we just bought some inventory. People started to book our inventory. We showed up and started doing the work, started getting paid, and it just became a real thing. Now, it's a little bit different if you're going to go out and start. Well, I had a front row seat at a company a couple of weeks ago who was starting a new brand, manufacturing food. Now, that's a whole different thing. Like that was they raised a bunch of money. They found distributor channels. They went and got some really talented people who've been in food distribution for 30 years. They found a company in China to make it, test the product, and do all this stuff. And now they're turning it on. Now they're hitting go, right? So just it depends on what kind of business you're wanting to start, and it might also be what kind of business are you wanting to start. But you want it to be hands off, e-commerce, totally live online, and you don't have to do anything. Those can be hard to make work because everybody is doing that from their basement right now. I'm not saying it's not the right thing to do. You probably want to go in and figure out, you're not going to make money right off the bat. Can you afford to do that? Do you have some money to fall back on? You should put together, it says, what are the steps? What's the blueprint? Well, the first thing you could do is put together what's called a pro forma. And let's say you put together a pro forma for 2021. And you could just literally lay out things like, okay, what is my revenue going to be? What are my expenses going to be in this new business? Who are my customers? How are we going to reach them? What's that going to cost? And just kind of lay out across the year. You can pretty much predict what you want to happen and kind of take a good wild ass guess on how much things are going to cost and kind of lay out and see if you could withstand a year worth of getting this thing up and running, right? Because if you run out of cash, Lisa, it's dead in the water, dead. So, Lisa, if you're sitting on a big pile of money, that's an advantage. That's cool. If you have to go get more money from somebody, it is going to hurt because they're not going to just give you that dough. They're going to charge you a ton of interest or they're going to want some of your company. You've seen Shark Tank. By the way, everybody on this call, if you've never watched the TV show Shark Tank, it is so informative. It just literally teaches you about valuations of business and how equity works and all this stuff. Go watch Shark Tank. It is brilliantly done, and it's a business class once a week, or you can go on. I think it's on CNBC, and it's on all the time. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. It's on back to back to back. There's 20 seasons of it, so you should go watch that. That would be a good place to get started. And and then I would be very careful about, how we want to jump into this business. I would lay out all of the money expenditures that we're going to lay out. So you don't want to just go dumping your life savings into this and do it in a haphazard way. Another thing you could do is you could go take on a partner of somebody who's done it before. And people do that all the time. My wife is a good example of that. There's a investment fund, and my wife had considered herself basically retired, but she was only, I'm not going to say how old she is, but she's not of retirement age. And they came looking for her and said, hey, we want to enter into this market. We've got millions of dollars to invest. We know you have done this before. Would you like to be a co-founder of this company? And we want your knowledge to make this thing go, right? So maybe, Lisa, you could go find somebody who's done a business, exited successfully, or they've got a business that's rocking and rolling and they don't need to, it's almost touchless. They don't have to do anything. Maybe they want to be in something new. And just throwing this out there, I'm not a big fan of giving up equity in your business, although, 100% of nothing is still nothing. And 51% of $10 million is, over $5 million, right? So just throwing it out there, something to consider. Okay, good question. Joe, Joe the Home Pro says, I'm looking to hire a part-time salesperson for my home inspection company, and I'm having a challenge determining how to pay their commission. Not sure if I do a flat fee or percentage of the sale to make it a win-win. And the background there is he has a home inspection, home watch company in Naples. And let's see, Joe's elevator pitch. I work with people buying a home to inspect it prior to closing to ensure the home is safe. All systems and components are working properly. I also work with seasonal residents to look after their slice of paradise, right? So I like that second one there. Joe, when it comes to your elevator pitch, you just need to hit people with why what you do is important. Joe the Home Pro, what do you do? I protect paradise, period. Whoa, what the hell? What does that mean? Well, what that means is in two ways. People want to buy their dream house. I go in and I make sure that the dream is actually a reality and not just a pipe dream. And I also protect, part-time snowbirds' homes when they're not there. Oh, wow, that's cool. So hire a part-time salesperson. Tom and Sean would have a lot of strong opinions about this. Um, I do not want anybody ever selling for me to have some fat salary or anything to fall back on. I'm a big fan of 100% commission based. So what that means to me is, and also I think you might run into a problem if you say, hey, Mr. Outside Seller, go get me new accounts and I'll pay you on the value of the account moving forward. No, hunters don't want that. Hunters want to get paid when they close accounts, and it's up to you to get the value out of those accounts. Do you understand? Right? So I think it probably is a flat fee to attract the kind of people that you want to attract. Hardcore hunters are worth their weight in gold, and they aren't going to come and do some kind of sliding scale. And I also think the percentage of the sale is a little bit tricky because I don't you don't want to eat into your margin. Um, I don't. It's totally up to you, Joe. I think that it's going to really depend on what you think the lifetime value of that customer is going to be. So if you've done that homework and you can figure out how to make a percentage of the sale make sense, then by all means go nuts. But I think you have to do that homework first before you can know whether or not that's wise. Okay, good question. Okay, this is from Sean. Sean says, without a team to delegate to and without the budget to hire a full team, how did you get things done when you first started your company and it was just you? Background. I hear many experienced entrepreneurs talk about delegating, only doing the things that you're great at. Unfortunately, it's only me. I'm just starting. I don't have a team nor money to hire a full team. I know I can't be alone trying to understand how to get everything done on a limited budget. How did you do it when you were first starting? Or where did you learn to go to get everything done looking for the story? So I'll literally tell you my story. So I mentioned that I had a business partner when we started the tent and event company. And we just went out and bought some inventory. And believe me when I tell you, we did everything. We didn't delegate a damn thing. We couldn't. There was nobody else to delegate to, and we had already spent all of our money on a bunch of stuff. So when I tell you, we this maybe is helpful. We broke up our calendar into times of day we would do things. We did outside selling in the morning from 9 to 11. We pounding the phones and go see people and whatever. And then we'd have to come back and get our deliveries and stuff ready for the afternoon because we were an event company. Most things happened at night. We would make all the deliveries in the afternoon, and then we would have to go back at night and pick it up. And then we would come back to the warehouse, and if there were dishes involved, because we rented dishes and stuff, they would be dirty. Then we would wash the dishes. So I don't know if you're putting that together in your mind. That's get to work at 6 a.m., do some prep work in the warehouse, start calling people from 9 to 11 a.m., eat lunch, come back and start loading the trucks for the afternoon deliveries, do that the entire balance of the afternoon, eat dinner, go back and start picking the shit up, and come back to the warehouse and wash dishes until 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. That's what my life looked like for about 10 years. Now, as we grew, what did we do? We brought on more delivery drivers and people who could do the afternoon bulk. It was still my partner and I doing sales. Just like we talked about earlier with the air conditioning, refrigeration service. My partner and I were the best salespeople for two reasons. We knew the business better, we had the most relationships, and we weren't super expensive like a good salesperson would be. And we let other people come in who we could teach to go and set up tents and drive trucks and do that kind of stuff. So we grew the service organization. We stayed small in sales. And then once that became a thing, we became more profitable, and our top line started to get up there, and we passed over 1 million to 2 million to 3 million. And then we were able to go out and start hiring who we thought would be good salespeople. And then, and only then, did he and I separate our duties, right? And I was sales and marketing, he was operations. And then we really split our organization like this and really able to get a handle on it. Now, keep in mind, we started that company in 2000, and we didn't make those changes until 2010. 10 full years of taking an ass kicking, um, 10 full years of no vacations. My wife asked me when we first started dating, which was in 2009, she said, "Hey, where do you like to vacation?" And I said, "I don't know. I haven't been on vacation in so long, I really can't remember." She said, "No, no, I mean like for downtime, like where do you like to go?" I said, "I haven't had downtime or money in 10 years." Right? So she was the one who actually, she was a fan of coming to Aruba, and so we came to Aruba, and so this is our place where we're happy together. That's why we built the house here. So whenever people go, "Damn, man, you got a house in Aruba, you're just on Easy Street." I'm like, well, you might say that. You might also say, I took a lifetime's worth of an ass kicking for 10 years, and nobody's going to judge whether or not I live in Aruba or any fucking where, right? Do what I want. We're entrepreneurs. We decide and we do what we want. So let's go make it happen. And unfortunately, until you have some bandwidth and some money to hire some help, it's you. There is no delegating. Unless, if you're frazzled, if you don't have good time management and organization, you certainly can get a virtual assistant. Lots of companies in India, the Philippines, particularly, $7 an hour. You have a really, really well qualified person handling your scheduling and stuff for you. Those are the kinds of things that we weren't good at because it didn't exist then, but it does now. So if you're a solopreneur and you want to focus on sales and delivery of your product and everything else, if you can outsource it to a virtual assistant, somebody like that, then go right ahead. And if the money makes sense, it's great. I love it. Okay. Let's go to the next one here. This is from Roland. And Roland says, how to make employees accept each other and make a team. Um, Roland said, in our family business, retail and wholesale shop, there are 10 females working together on the floor. Oh boy. They do everything from receiving products, stocking the shelves, dealing with in-store customers, then the cashier sell the products. They rotate between the tasks. There are 4 of them that work together as a great team, but they also form a clique. They don't accept other people working with them. This puts me in a very hard position to hire new people. Eventually, they will not feel welcomed as part of the team. I need help in the strategy and communication. Um, one of the 4 employees is the head of the shop. Okay, now we're getting into it. The first lesson is don't have all female. I'm just kidding, just kidding. I'm not being sexist. And by the way, I'm a big fan of female leadership. I think it's better than male. Just throwing that out there. Um, my wife would agree, I'm sure. So this is what I might do, Roland. I've seen stuff like this happen before. What I would do is when I hire new people in, I would automatically assign them to one of the 4, and that they would be like a mentor, right? So automatically newbie comes in and they get a mentorship with one of the big 4, and they're automatically included. That's got to be a part of it, right? Um, and then you, as the leader of the business, just always pushing on those 4 to say, okay, this is why this is important. We need new people to come in. We've got to keep good talent. We want them to feel welcome. Um, employee A, you're really, really great, and I really need you to take this person under their wing and mentor them for the first 30, 60 days, and then they'll kind of graduate, and then they'll begin to mentor people. So I work with a lot of different companies. Anytime that I go in and they're static, right? They're static between 2 members of the executive team, 2 departments, kind of butting heads, always, exclusively. I say, listen, the key is to work closer together, not further apart. So I get those people doing one-on-ones together, giving each other one-on-one weekly top task meetings and stuff like that. So that might be a hard sell, Roland. I don't know what's going on inside your organization. The thing I'm sure of, though, have you ever heard of this? There's peacetime CEO and there's wartime CEO. And peacetime CEOs, great guy or great gal, big smiles. Hey, wants everybody to do well. Wartime CEO is, hey, I've made a decision. It's time to get shit done. We're going to have a mentorship program. You're going to lead it with a big smile, or you can go flip burgers at McDonald's and I'll replace your ass with somebody who will do some mentorship. Okay? Go have the best day ever. Right? So it might be a combination, Roland, of making that decision, selling it very nicely, and then just telling people what's going to happen. Right? This might help. There's a book called Everyone Always by Bob Goff, Goff. I think it's Bob. And I just started reading it. I read a lot of heavy duty like business books because I have to. And this is more of like a feel good. It's Christian based, which I love. I'm a Christian, um, but it's more of a feel good about how to love serve people like Christ and that whole thing. But you don't have to be a Christian to dig it because it's just generally about being a good person to other people, right? Love your neighbor, all that jazz. And he said something really powerful in there. He said, don't tell people what to do. Tell them who they are, right? And I'm going to use a couple of biblical references just because you'll get it. Like I said, this is not a Bible hour, although it sure can be if you need that. Um, he said, God told Moses that he was a leader of people. God told Noah he was a sailor, right? God told David he was a king. And he didn't tell him what to go do. So inside of our businesses, you might turn to one of the big four here and say, listen, I don't know if you know, but you are a leader. I depend on you to lead people in this organization. I depend on you to mentor new people. This is what this looks like. This is who I need you to be. This is who you are. Roland, if you'll do that, I think you'll get more traction in kind of getting these four to be more accepting of new people. And the other part, Roland, is if you had a strategic plan for your business and said, hey, right now, and this is what a strategic plan looks like. I'm just going to quick back of the napkin here. This is what I would do. All right, it's 2020. So let's say in 2030. And yeah, I don't know the name of the business. I'm just going to say, Roland Business. In 2030, this is what we look like. We have top line revenue of, $10 million. I don't know where you are now. That means instead of having one shop, we have 10 shops. Instead of having 4 full-time employees, we have 40 full-time employees, right? You just kind of lay out a large master plan for those people and say, listen, guys, I'm not bringing new people into this organization so that I can replace you or to make you less important or any of that. I want to bring new people into the organization because we're growing. And the only way to really do that is you guys are going to have to mentor and teach these people the ropes. And it's not to give you more responsibility or to make it a drag or something. If you look at this opportunity, the 4 of you are likely like branch area managers. You're not working on the floor every day doing this job. So get yourself out of what you do every day and get yourself into the future view, right? If you can paint that, Roland, if you can paint that picture for them, picture on the box, in 10 years, this is what success looks like in our business. And the 4 of you are no longer working on the floor, stocking shelves, receiving products. You're probably a branch manager. You're probably an area manager, or maybe you're doing something in marketing, which is what you really want to do. If you can paint that picture for them, and here's the good news, Roland, that picture is not BS at all. It's real talk. Um, that should be enough to get them to kind of play your game and do what you want them to do, be nicer to new people or whatever. Okay. Hope that was helpful. That can be transformative for you. So that's actually called, write this down if you don't know. It's called a BHAG, BHAG, which stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal. And that paints the picture for you guys, for all your employees and your customers and anybody else. But hey, this is the direction of our company. This is where we are going. Okay. Hope that was helpful. Let's go to Trish Murphy. And Trish said, what is the best text marketing software for e-commerce? I sell false eyelashes online. I'm looking for ways of increasing sales. I'm hoping that text marketing might be a new strategy that could help. I want to make sure I choose the right software from beginning to optimize my efforts. I sell false eyelashes to makeup artists, beauty supply stores, salons, the end consumer. My website is eyelashеsunlimited.com. Okay, here comes an important learning lesson for you, Trish. I don't No. You know, people ever get on here and like, oh, well, you could do a few different things. Let me get, when it comes to text marketing software, I have no freaking idea. I don't know. I'd probably talk to Tom Black or Sean about that particularly. I do not know a damn thing about text marketing for e-commerce. The one thing I would ask though is your elevator pitch. I sell false eyelashes to makeup artists and I can help you with this. That's what you do. You sell false eyelashes to makeup artists, beauty supply stores, and salon. And Trish, my question for you would be, why do you do that? Why does it matter? Why is it important? And you might say, well, you know, because false eyelashes, you know, help women feel more beautiful. And okay, I can dig that. So maybe what you do is you help women or people, might be for men too. I don't know. That'd be cool. You help people feel more beautiful. You help people. Sorry, let me get this to where you can see it. I'm going to write this down and make it land. So if I said, hey, eyelashesunlimited.com, and I saw you in the elevator or the virtual elevator, and I'd say, hey, Trish, how are you? Tell me again, Trish, what do you do? And you said, I help people feel beautiful. That is an incredibly powerful purpose. I help people feel beautiful. Jesus, Trish, that is amazing. How do you do that? How do you do that? And you would say, well, I sell false eyelashes to makeup artists, beauty supply stores, salons, and the end customer. All right, sold. I believe in people buy who you are, not what you do, right? People buy what you believe, not what you sell. So the only reason I brought that up, Trish, is because I'm attempting to be helpful on this question, and I don't know shit about text marketing software. I really don't. However, when you find that perfect text marketing software and you activate it, you should lead with your core purpose, and it's going to pay off in gigantic ways. And people receive a text from you, and it says, hey, hi, I'm Trish. I help people feel beautiful. This is how I sell false eyelashes, da 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 da. Value proposition. But if you set it up with that core purpose, and here's the cool part, Trish, you really think like further, flip 10 years down the road, your core purpose doesn't change. Although the way you do it might, probably will. Right now, you sell false eyelashes to makeup artists and blah, blah, blah. In 10 years, you might sell a bunch of different products, but it will all still resonate with that core purpose of helping people feel beautiful. That is super, super cool. By the way, that is my favorite part of this call so far. Trish, I hope that resonates with you. And once you, if in, I can't, that's not your core purpose statement unless you want it to be. I'm pretty good at like hammering those things out. Would love to have a conversation with you about it. But if you said Eyelashes Unlimited exists to help people feel beautiful or make it easy for people to feel beautiful, like false eyelashes are easy to stick them on. So we make it easy for people to feel beautiful. Oh, all day long. You could build a plan off of that and just that should resonate with your customers. It should resonate with if you ever have employees, if it's just you, if you want to uh, increase your inventory and you're going to go out and borrow money to do that, it should make it easier to get investors because that is a really righteous core purpose. So good question. Thank you. Lindsay. Lindsay said, what are the best credit cards to get for a business bank account? I own a chocolates company. I want to know more about setting up accounts for my business. There's a lot of options. Curious as to what's the best path to take. So this is, I mean, there's so many different options for business. I'm a big Southwest Airlines fan. So all of my accounts are somehow or another tied to Southwest Airlines. I don't know how many, I've got millions of miles of points, companion passes wherever I go in the world on Southwest. You know, somebody flies with me for free, which is very cool because they service Aruba, which is very cool. A lot of people would say that American Express is the gold standard of credit cards, right? It's universally accepted. Now the fees are a little bit more, and you have to pay monthly, right? So I personally think, JT, I think it's probably American Express, Lindsay, because it'll keep you honest and it'll keep you from going into too much debt. You must pay it every month. And that'll build some discipline into, oh boy, oh no, no, no. I could take a client out and spend $10,000 on dinner. That's fine. And I got to pay that son of a bitch at the end of the month, right? So it'll help you develop some discipline. So best credit cards, in my opinion, American Express, just to build in some discipline and to build up your, your business credit. And by the way, you'll have to personally guarantee all this stuff, but welcome to the life of being an entrepreneur. And then I personally like the Chase Visa Southwest cards, just because of my own personal preference for Southwest as an airline. All righty, let's go to Allison. And Allison, thank you for phonetically spelling Koyanagi. Allison Koyanagi. How do you quickly filter out leads that aren't right for your business if you don't have a designated salesperson? Okay. And here's a description. Recently, I had a lead that I felt wasn't right for my business. He used 40 minutes of my time. When he first sent me an email with all of his business info, it seemed like a good idea. He ended up saying he couldn't afford to pay services, but will pay me with a percentage of sales. His product was promising, but as an owner, he did not seem like a fit for my company. He seemed like a possible nightmare client, and I'm trying to filter out those types of clients before we enter into a working relationship. Full service digital marketing um, um, agency, passionate about using digital marketing strategies, creative content, help businesses stand out from their competition, and the like. Okay, so Allison, yes, he used 40 minutes of your time. And can I push back just a little bit, Allison, and say, you gave him 40 minutes of your time, right? Sorry, I don't want to be that way, but I am a coach at heart. Nobody used anything. Nobody stole anything from you. You gave it to him because you thought it might be a promising lead. Now, what can we do to make sure that doesn't happen again? There's a weird thing. Now, I sell my services. I'm a coach, right? So it's easier now. When I first started, I had to convince people it was a good idea. I don't have to do that as much anymore because most people who come to me are referrals. Referrals from people that I do work with or that I used to work with. They know what it's all about. They know what it costs. They know what the value is. They know what I'm about. And they just need to get on my schedule and give me a credit card number, right? Um, However, one thing that I've figured out is if you can put some barriers up in order people have to jump through a little bit of a hoop to do business with you, that for some reason or another, man, people really love that. So I'm going to give you, this is a trick you could do, Allison, because you are, like if you're on the cutting edge of full service digital marketing and stuff, people would probably understand that when they interact with you online, it should be fairly sophisticated, right? So one thing you could do is you could have a call to action button on your website that says, hey, contact Allison for a referral or contact Allison for a consultation or something. Click. And they click on it. And then you give them an opportunity to make a video for you. Hey, in 3 minutes or less, describe your business and the outcomes of what you want to make happen. Now, you might say, oh, God, that's hard. People won't do that. Sure, they will. Automatically, it'll seem like you have your shit together and you are making them jump through hoops to do business with you. And it's such a counterintuitive thing. Some people really, really love that. They're going to, if they put in the time to make a quick video and say, hey, yeah, Allison, I got a fish market over here on Palm Beach, Aruba, and I need some help with my digital marketing and the things that I want to accomplish. Lay out a little bit of a template. What do you want to accomplish through digital marketing? What's your budget? Go ahead and put that in the template. What if that guy would have said, well, I don't really have a budget. I was hoping I could make a deal for a percentage of sales. No, we don't do that. Do not be afraid to bring up money immediately because people who can pay have no problem talking about it. The people who can't will hem and haw, and you just kick them out as a possible client, right? You do not want to do that. Be chasing money all over the place. There's no way to live. So, Allison, I think it might be just what you said. I'm trying, you're not trying to do anything. You're filtering out those types of clients. Just right now, you suck at it, right? Don't get it twisted. You're not trying to do anything. You're doing it. You're doing it poorly. Let's make sure you can do it better. Um, Filter out those types of clients before we enter into a working relationship. Yeah, you should filter them out very, very quickly and with as much automation as possible. And then that way, if you were able to do that, it's possible you could cast your net out internationally. You could have automation kind of filtering out from 10,000 people instead of 100 people, right? So just throwing that out there. I hope that was helpful. Here we go. This is Stephen Davis. What is your advice regarding how to handle prospects that are solely focused on price? And he talks a little bit about they represent multiple professional employment organizations. The reason I'm asking this question is I'm currently dealing with a prospect solely focused on price, regardless of value. The prospect is a sizable company with great influence. Obviously, you can only reduce the price so far. But what's the best way to manage the situation? I do not want to lose a prospect potential future referral business. Stephen, why are you worried about losing a prospect and potential for referral business if these people don't want to pay what you need to be paid? That doesn't make sense. I mean, unless they're just going to be a loss leader. What I would do, this is JT, I'd go to that potential, but I'd say, listen, I know you're only focused on price. It's short-sighted, and I bring a lot more value than that. Fine. Let me tell you what I expect, Mr. Client. You want to get my services at razor thin margins, and I might even lose money working with you, right? Let's be honest. You're focused on price only. I might be willing to do that, but we are going to have a referral agreement. I will do work with you at this very limited price. It's a loss leader, and you will provide me with 10 active referrals a month or a year or whatever. I would put that shit in writing. And I would say the flip side is also true. If you refuse to, like, you don't want to give me referrals and whatever, it's like, that's fine. We just can't do business. I'm not going to, Stephen, I want to look deep into your heart here. There's a guy that I worked with in New York City, window washers. Okay. All they do is wash windows. And when I tell you this year, well, maybe not this year with the pandemic, but last year, their window washing business did $25 million in revenue. Okay. And the first time I ever talked to him, I said, hey, what are your growth, what are your margins? What's your profit margin? And I expected him to say 10, 15%. And he said 35%. And then I passed out. And when I came to and woke up, I said, how in God's name do you achieve 35% gross margins? He said, it's simple. If I don't get 35% margins, I don't do the job. That's it. Will not send anybody to the people's house to do the work if I can't get 35% margin. That's it. I was like, shit, man, that's the best thing I've ever heard of. So these guys are stacking money, washing people's windows. Now, granted, they do it at a very high level, white glove service, and their clients are people like whoever, Bill Clinton. I'm like super rich people who live on the upper east and west side of Central Park, right? So, and they, because they have this level of anonymity, confidentiality, and they're bonded and licensed and all this stuff, right? It's a high bar of clientele they're going for, and those people can afford to pay those margins. So, Stephen, I believe that you are worth the prices that you want to charge. And I think you should be more demanding on your clientele. However, if there's anybody who you feel like would be a good referral business and you just want to have a loss leader, I would tell them so. I wouldn't trick anybody out of anything. I'd say, hey, man, this is a two-way street. You want to get my services cheap, and I don't do shit for cheap. So this is what's it. I will handle your business at X amount of margin or no margin at cost. And what you're going to do for me is you're going to send me active live referrals, and I would go ahead and lay out how many I wanted, and then just let it be what it is. Fine. Don't be afraid to ask people for what you want. All they'll do is say no, no problem. People sell themselves short all day, every day. Stephen, you were in Franklin for an entire weekend working on yourself to get better as a business person, which proves to me you are worth more money than your competitors. So don't be afraid to go charge it. All right, Eric. Eric asked, should I be concerned if job applicants don't send a resume like I asked them to? Yes, you should. End of question. Hey, here's the barriers. If you want to come apply, you send a resume, you send a video. I've talked about that. Get them to send videos, right? So this says we have plenty of business, no boots on the ground. Our technician might not be the most savvy with building resumes. You know what? So this might be a little bit, I might look at it a different way. Is resume what you really want? Or is it a video resume? Do you want to hear these people speak? Like you want them to represent well in front of customers and stuff. So Eric, what you could do is say, listen, at rat exclusion service, we do everything differently. So if you want to apply, submit a 3-minute video with this information. And here's the deal. If they go over 3 minutes, if they ramble for 5 or 6 minutes, kick them out. They don't follow directions. They're going to be a pain in the ass. They're not going to do what you want. Give them very specific directions on how to submit it, on the information you want. And if somebody goes and takes the time to do that, you know they're going to be a good employee for you, right? So I would just say, hey, send a video resume with this information, this format, just it doesn't have to be high tech. Take your phone, shoot a video, no more than 3 minutes in length. These are the pieces of information that I want, and I'd be done with it. But if they don't do that, I wouldn't even talk to them. All right, Christopher, Joseph has a good one here. Have you heard of Amway e-commerce businesses? If so, what are your experiences with them? And if I get in MLM, how should I determine if it's right? Multi-level marketing. Here's another one I don't know anything about. I don't know shit about multi-level marketing. And there's a big long description here talking about met some guy who wanted to get into business and wanted to help create an opportunity where people could get rich over 5 years or something. You're probably asking the wrong person. I don't know anything about these businesses. I tend to feel like they are full of shit. I know a bunch of people, and let's be honest, I know a lot of really wealthy people very, very well. Um, some of them are my neighbors, some of them are my clients, and I don't know anybody who it was easy. I don't know anybody that was just falling off the log and you rolled out of bed and clicked a piece of software and it made money for you in your sleep. I'm sure that that probably happens. If you want to take a flyer and you want to go be a part of Amway, I remember Amway when I was a kid, multi-level marketing and this whole thing. There's a reason why it's so sketchy and people think it's a bunch of bullshit because it is. Um, Now, that having been said, are there people who probably have had a great experience doing Amway and multi-level marketing? Sure, great. If you want to live your life around it, go right ahead. It feels like bullshit to me, and I don't want to be full of shit. But if you do, then that's fine. No worries. And hell, you might get rich in a year, and you call me and say I told you so, and I'd be like, hey man, good for you. Like I wouldn't be mad. Um, so you answered it for yourself here, though, Christopher. You wrote a giant paragraph, and you answered your own question right in the middle. Am I right in thinking that this has bad written all over it? Yeah, I think you're right. Or is this a poor mindset not accepting a good opportunity? I don't know, man. You got to go with the gut there. It seems like maybe you explore it. And, what we said earlier, hey, you put together a business plan, figure out how much money you can afford to lose, and go for it. And maybe you do the same thing with this guy. Say, hey, man, I'm putting together a plan. I'll give it this much time and this much of my money to see if there's any there. And then you can go do it and take a good hard run at it. And you might say, you know what, it wasn't for me, or hell, this is the best thing ever. I'm going to be a multimillionaire in 3 years. You have to decide that. But I wouldn't go into it just with blind faith of this guy, right? I would talk to people who have done business with him. I would verify that all of this financial crap he's talking about is true. And then I would give myself a little bit of decision space. Hey, I'm willing to spend this much time and this much money to vet this thing and see if it's real and good for me. And then if it is, you can just rock and roll and go nuts with it. And good luck with you, man, because I hope you mentioned the guy got defensive when I brought up Amway pyramid schemes. Yeah, he wouldn't if there was nothing to be defensive about. He wouldn't get defensive, right? If he felt like it was all good and he wouldn't get defensive. He would just go, listen, yeah, I agree. It sounds like bullshit. It sounds like it's too good to be true. And it might be. This is just the experience that I've had. It is very, very good. He wouldn't be mad about it. So the fact comes human nature thing. If he's defensive about it, there's probably something a little creepy going on there. Just throwing that out there. All right, got time for a couple more. Gabor said, how do I keep track of what everyone's doing in a growing team? And he says, we've got 3 full-time, four part-time employees. contractors and people doing a bunch of stuff. I'm getting stressed because I feel like I'm losing track of what everybody should do. Okay, enough said. You don't have to, there's other stuff here. I'm worried about my employees' feelings. I don't give a shit about any of that. Roles and responsibilities, key performance indicators. Go into the roles in your organization, come up with 3 to 5 key performing indicators for each one of those roles, okay? Measurable, and then have each one of those people report them to you every day. The beginning of the day, they report what they did yesterday, and that's all. And you said, how do I make sure my employees are productive and getting without micromanaging them? That's not micromanaging. They're just reporting stuff to you you need to know and constantly looking over their shoulders. You don't have to do that either. They report their key performance indicators. That's all. And it also, you're going to get to the point where 3 full-time, 4, 3 to 5 contractors, some are remote. There's this, from 1 to 10, I'm sorry, from 0 to 10 people, you are the manager. You're the manager. Gabor. Once you get over that and you have 15, 20 people, you're going to need a manager, not you. You're not there yet. If you set up these KPIs and stuff, though, it'll be way easier when you do make somebody a manager of people. It'll be like falling off a log for them, and then you can go about doing the heavy lifting as the owner of the business. So I hope that's helpful. Put you some key performance indicators on each of those roles. You'll be doing good. This is going to be my last one here. This is Erica, and Erica says, how do I think bigger in my business? And Erica said, my company does very well as it stands. I'm trying to change my perspective a bit. There's the try word again. I feel I'm looking from the ground up and not from the top down. I find myself working in my business versus building it. What are some techniques you've used to guide this process? We're a professional luxury cleaning company. We've incorporated hospitality tourism management to create a unique system that allows you to experience the difference. Okay, Erica, what I want you to do is, it's 2020. I want you to sit down with a piece of paper and write the numbers 2030. And then I want you to tell me what your organization looks like in 2030. And you're probably going to go, well, right now we clean 35 homes. And I want to think bigger. So what would success look like? And you probably would say, well, 10 years from now, it's 350 homes. That's what people do. They way undershoot what's possible. If I were your coach and I was standing there and you said, okay, in 2030, we've got 350 homes, I'd say, that's fine. I would add a 0 to it, 3,500. That's a BHAG, okay? And you would go, oh my God, well, if we're doing that many homes, I'd have to change the way I do everything. It's probably fully automated this and all this stuff. And I just start writing all that stuff down. That's how you get strategic. That's how you break out of this kind of mindset. So Erica, whatever goals you have stated for 5 to 10 years, add a 0. And that'll help you think strategically, and that'll help you kind of build in such a way that you'll get out of your own way about thinking about what's possible and what's been done before. I don't care about any of that. We're entrepreneurs. We make shit happen. Add a 0, right? If there's anything I could leave you guys with today, when you're thinking about your small businesses and you want them to be big businesses, and you're not exactly sure how to get there, that doesn't matter. To plant your flag in the sand in the future and start working toward it, add a 0. Add a 0 to that top line revenue, add a 0 to that units under management. And that will help you get there. It'll change, but this will be the last thing I say. It's almost like a mic drop. I'm gonna end the video. Okay, you guys ready? This is gonna be awesome. The BHAG. If you lay out your big, hairy, audacious goal, 10 years from now, what does your business look like? And you add a 0, it'll change the things you do in the next hour. It'll change the things you do in the next hour. So sit down, create a BHAG, and get to work. Peace.